Perfect. So we are. Let me know. Let me know if we're live, Coda. Yeah. Do you see it though? How good is that? Huh? I mean, come on. Well, yeah. Right. That's what I'm saying. No, I didn't make it. They Bungie Embark said I could use it. Also, Bungie said I could use it. They don't care. They don't care at all. Yeah. All right. I was gonna do. We got like 20 seconds, and we're gonna jump in here. All right. Good. They don't care at all. All right, and at that point, that's where we switch over. I don't know if you know, but we're here. We're live.
It's us. We're there.
Well, I mean, a little bit.
Put him it's right in the middle where he belongs. The important man.
That's why we did it. That's why we did it.
Hell yeah. What's good, everybody? Hello, and welcome to episode 17 of the Tick Pod and Art Creators podcast. As always, I'm Coda. What's up? What's up? What's good? What's good? Below me today, this handsome, strapping young gentleman in the tie. Tie number one is the young DJ Oros. What's up, buddy? How we feeling? I love the tie. Looks good on you.
Good. I mean, I'm gonna wear it like this most of the show, I think. But for right now, we'll be down. We'll be professional. We're good. We're sitting here.
The over the shoulder tie.
Yeah, like we've had some fun, version of the tie.
Like been on the dance floor for an hour and a half post wedding. So
yeah, I don't want to swing it, with my drink or anything like that.
That's good. And we'll get into a more serious, lengthy intro in a second, but we're super stoked this week. We got TieGuyTravis on with us. What's up, Travis? Hello, sir.
Hello, greetings. Happy to be here on the Tick Pod.
Right.
Made it.
Rather than scavenging Tick Pods. I'm on the Tick Pod.
Right.
You gotta get them for your workbenches, so
they're important for a minute.
Yeah. for like a week, for like 10 seconds. Yep.
For one bench.
Yep.
We're in there. All right, DJ, what's up this week? What do we do? How are we feeling? Anything new in the life of the young Mr. Oros?
So for me, real life, we've had one of our best friends, Dan Lombardo, which I don't think he'll be mad if I'm shouting him out like that. He had his first child, little Harrison. Is looking good, doing great. Excited for them. I know we're gonna be dropping off some food for them. I think Sunday. So it'll be a good time to go visit them. Hopefully I've got all my shots and everything updated so I can like hold that baby and, really, really mess it up early on. Which would be ideal. I don't want them to get too far along without having some problems.
Let them know about the real world right off the gate.
Yeah, I don't want it to be too easy for them. But I had that going on. I've been playing a lot of the trials for Arc Raiders, which is fun. The first two semesters, cycles, seasons, I really, really ignored them. So now it's great. I'm enjoying going after them. I really want the cosmetic set. I want to be in the top 1,000, but that'll never happen. So if I can at least get to the top tier before that, I'm excited. And it's sort of been grinding at least Arc Raiders style.
Love it, man. Heck yeah. Yeah, we dropped off food to Dan and Abby the other day, and I couldn't go see the baby because my shots are not up to date. So make sure you get those shots up to date, dude. It's a cute little man.
For shame.
I take so many shots. I'll be fine.
Just vodka counts.
Yeah. It's sterile.
Yo, did you see that Modern Warfare 2 2019? It just like rocketed up the Steam charts. It went on sale, and like it has a higher player count than BF6 in the current COD. You guys see that?
That and a couple other games. People were jumping to it, right?
Steam sale.
Yeah, I think they put it on like a 80 or 90% Steam sale, and it just skyrocketed back.
I mean, it is what it is, right?
Indeed.
Get those classics in there.
That's true. I mean, that's my favorite COD of all time, but might be a hot take. Otherwise, man. Yeah, I was up in Niagara Falls for the weekend. That was really cool. It was one of our really good friends, one of Wynn's best friends from her childhood, just turned 29, so we were up there hanging out with her for the weekend. Got to see the falls. absolutely horrific weather, but we made the best of it. It was great.
Late 20s. You love to see it.
Surely. Young and
Almost
spry.
almost early 30s.
Almost. Come join the party over here.
30s. Talk about it. Yeah, and anything else fun? We're gonna go skating soon.
We are going to go skating soon once this weather breaks. We're back to winter again.
Health is wealth, but we're in Pittsburgh and our weather is awful. So it was like 70 degrees, and then now it's back to like 24 degrees and snowing. So sooner or later we'll get outside. We'll be skating and doing all the fun stuff. But
what region of the country are you in, Travis? You got nice consistent weather, or what's up for you, man?
I do. I'm in San Francisco. The weather's always the same here.
The Californian, yes.
I can skate every day. Skate every day out there.
Yep.
You a skater at all?
Pretty.
Hop on the blades?
I'm not. I go for jogs though, and because I live right next to the beach and it's always nice weather in San Francisco,
That's
I pretty much just get to run on the beach and chill.
Incredible.
It's pretty.
I
nice.
saw you just put like 150 hours into Crimson Desert too, so you got to get the legs moving, dude. Too much
Yeah,
sitting.
I really do. Especially usually I try to stay active when I'm not playing games. Like, while I'm on a review, I try to like take like a 90 minutes or more a day to just like run. But Crimson Desert's embargo was like 10 days for a 150-hour game, and I basically just fully goblin moded myself, was not exercising at all or going outside. I think there were several days where I opened the front door to like get a package or something, and I was like, "Oh right, I haven't been outside in days."
This is what the daylight looks like.
Yeah, I'm happy to be past that. It only really happens like maybe once or twice a year if I get like a really gnarly review with a tight turnaround. But yeah, this was one of my more upsetting review periods from a humanistic point of view.
The toes did not beat the sand for a few days, is what you're saying.
No, quite the opposite. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, on that note, and this is not normally how we do this, but I'm gonna introduce our guest today.
Give it to him.
And this
Hold up.
You ready? You got? Oh my! Thank you so much. There
I'm
it
ready.
is. There it is. There it is. All right. So I would like to introduce our guest, a man who stands for everything and denies nothing. A man who has created an Instagram account solely to follow Vin Diesel. A man who eats crayons and punches other Guardians like a true Titan would. A man that I've literally never seen without a tie on. A man who occasionally gives positive reviews if they're deserving. And a man I'm lucky enough to call a friend. TieGuyTravis. Thank you so much for coming on to the Tick Pod today. I know it's we're on episode 17. We're very early in our podcasting, video gaming career, but I appreciate you being here, and thank you very, very much.
Happy to do it, man. Yeah, when you told you were making an Arc Raiders pod, I said, perfect. Let me know. Just let me know.
Don't think this will be the only help. Reach out to be like, come on, let's talk about some stuff going on Arc Raiders. So, but thank you for doing the first one with us here.
Before we get into it, man, like
as somebody who hasn't, I'm sorry, listen to your podcast.
It's okay. It's okay.
How's it going? Do you guys? Because one of the questions I have about Arc Raiders is, do they have the live service chops to keep interest? Because Embark actually has a great track record with the finals. The game they put out content pretty regularly for that, but that game is also a little self-sustaining because it's a lot more PvP focused, right? They don't have to be as fast with it, and so I'm wondering, like, are you guys treading water some weeks because there's like not a lot of new content, or do you guys find it pretty easy to find things to talk about? I'm just curious.
You want to answer that one?
Sure, dude. I think the game's still early enough in its life cycle where no, it's not too stale quite yet. But I would say the last 3 weeks of updates have not been like, there hasn't been a ton of new content or anything inside of those. So I'm with you. I think that'll be the make or break for this game lasting, 2 years or 10. So
well, and I think
so far so good for us though, 100%.
I think prior to that, we've had weeks where we're like, oh my god, the amount of content that they're like, not content but updates and stuff they're bringing to the table has been substantial, and we're like, oh, we want to talk about this, but there's so much in the patch notes which happen every Tuesday, which we got lucky that I don't think we picked Tuesdays because of the patch notes, but it just fell on a good day.
We'll just say we did.
We picked Tuesdays because of the patch notes. And there's been so much to talk about. We always say we're going to talk for an hour, go over the stuff really quick. And then we end up over an hour and talking about some extra stuff and just I want to talk about the life of the game, but also the things that they're doing to add to it. And I know it's an extraction shooter, so there's not usually a big update. It's not like Destiny style updates, but they give us small stuff throughout the
Well,
month.
yeah.
And well, yet exactly.
Right.
But then they
Yeah,
do
I
give
mean,
us
extraction shooters
bigger
always end up
patches.
having like large updates, but usually their content is more about like maps and new enemies and new weapons and that sort of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see when it gets to that part, like if you guys play like Escape from Tarkov, like the amount of content that's been added to that game over the years is pretty crazy.
Well, I have not, but it is on sale on Steam right now, so that was something I was looking at buying.
throw your life
Would you
away.
recommend
Don't
it?
do it.
Okay, don't do it. Heard. Okay.
I mean, I honestly, if you like Arc Raiders, like Tarkov is probably not the game for
Not
you.
the
To be
same thing.
honest
I'm
with
still
you.
playing Marathon,
It's
so like
Dave,
it really
amount-
is. It is. Yeah.
Go ahead, Travis.
I was gonna say it's like Arc Raiders minus all the polish,
okay.
plus way more complicated, plus super aggressive PvP. I would describe it as like it is the if Arc Raiders is Fortnite, then Escape from Tarkov is PUBG in like its level of polish. Like it is the OG version of the game, but it's like it just it's a beautiful game, like in a lot of regards, but it is probably the most unapproachable game I've ever played
Okay.
in a lot of regards.
So
Yeah.
stick to Arc Raiders and Marathon. Heard. Don't buy it. Don't
Pretty
I
waste
feel
my
like
much,
money.
yeah.
marathons
Buy some
are like already
cosmetics.
rapidly approaching your like level
Yeah,
of oh
it's
god, this
true.
is too much.
Very true. Very true.
Travis, how much have you played Arc, dude? Before we get into it, I just want to have a little frame
Yeah,
of
so
reference.
I did IGN's review of Arc Raiders.
True.
So
Yes, it was a
if
great
you want,
review.
you
Well done, sir.
yeah, if you want, you can just look at my review and ask me questions about it. Happy to do that. But I played quite a bit. I played it during some kind of alpha or preview event. I don't really remember what context I played it in, but that was like maybe a year and a half ago. And then I
Oh
played
wow.
it during the beta that I think everybody played, like the open beta or whatever. And then I played it for the review. And during the review period, I'd say I probably put, I mean, easily over 100 hours into that by the end. And then it was also one of the few games that I continued to play after I reviewed it. Usually after I review a game, like I don't really get to choose what games I play in my
Sure.
free time. Like I play a game and then they are like, all right, on to the next one. And I kind of just have to like say goodbye to whatever game I played. But I managed to keep a couple games that become like my comfort games, my recreational games when I'm not doing reviews. And Arc Raiders was that game for a while after the review. I would say it kind of fell off just because I got super busy with GDC recently, and then also Marathon is out, which is kind of now my extraction shooter of choice. But it stuck with me for a while, and I also played it with you know her DJ, but D, my wife, got into
Thai
Arc
girl.
Raiders for a while.
Thai girl
Travis.
Travis. Thai girl
That's right, yeah.
Travis.
Thai
Yes.
girl Travis. She played Arc Raiders with me for a bit because she liked that people weren't mean in it.
That's why I like
she
it
actually,
too.
You
Oh
guys were in
yeah.
the good lobbies.
yeah,
There
friendly,
you
friendly,
go.
friendly.
Friendly.
I mean, I only ever saw friendly lobbies. I that's actually one of my criticisms of the game is that I love PvP and Arc Raiders doesn't have enough of it.
All right. Well, hey, listen.
But
After the pod, if you're not doing anything, you hop in with me, and we'll get you in the PvP lobbies. I promise.
You'll find them.
so
Absolutely.
they did add that, right? Since the last time I played, there's like now PvE separate lobbies where there's no PvP. Is that correct?
So,
And then
by the books, incorrect, but like as the way the skill base plays out, yes. So if you, it's not confirmed on paper, but there is aggression based matchmaking confirmed. So if you are an aggressive player, if you shoot on site, if you shoot at anybody over a consistent amount of time, like you will consistently be put into those lobbies that keep you with
got
other
it.
people who treat the game the same way. So
That
like
is
Dave and I've run
interesting.
into that a lot with like, I'm definitely like I love PvP. That's why I play video games. So like when he and I play together, we'll be in like a lobby that's a little mixed. But like if we do that for long enough, then we're just in like full on PvP lobbies.
Or it's
So
like
how
almost
do
an
you?
even split.
My
Right?
my issue with that though is that you're not your it takes away kind of your agency and choice, right? Like you're kind of
100%.
you're being pre like sorted based off of stuff you've done in the past. So if you go in with the intention of not doing PvP, you're kind of screwed. Like you're just going to be in the PvP lobbies until you get your ass kicked a lot, I guess. I don't know. What
Yeah.
Correct. The quickest and easiest way is to not shoot back, but like then you're still going in like 6 or 7 free kit raids just to get yourself back into the PvE lobbies, which
yeah, that's a
as most
bummer.
people don't have time to do that. So It
Yeah, that
is.
is a bummer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if they're going to do that, if they're going to separate people, which to me kind of runs counter to what an extraction shooter is. I only passively like paid attention to that update or whatever that was they were talking about where they were like leaning into PvE, but my first thought was, oh, well that takes away some of the kind of surprise, right? Of like getting into PvP encounters if you're like a sole PvE player and now you're only going to talk to people that are like you.
Totally.
But
True.
that's interesting the way they've decided to do it.
Well, I
Yeah, Dave
think
and I
that
talked. Go
yeah,
ahead,
'cause,
Dave.
I think they did that like to a point, right? They make it so their interest is having the PVE world. I think that is like their focus. We've talked about it that the PvP players don't have as big of a role in it. Which TieGuy, I know that's not your end game. I know trials and the PvP is where you live, but they
Yeah.
also there is specific maps built towards that. Like Stella Montes is you going
Yeah,
in there.
Stella Montes is like
It doesn't
100%.
it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you're I mean, we've had one time where people were singing and talking to each other, I think when we've played together, because I am
True.
with a PvE player and Coda, if we jump in together, you do get a mix of both. We were in earlier today and like somebody was like, "Oh, I'm friendly," after I shot at him. But then immediately we encountered 5 teams that were all shooting at each other, trying to kill each other. We got their stuff and got out. But I think they found a pretty decent balance with the PV world. I don't know,
That's
Coda.
interesting.
How do you
Well,
feel?
let me pick Travis. Let me pick your brain. Like, how do you think that they implement that in a better way? Because we've been fishing for that answer for the last couple weeks. Like, the aggression base is a good start, but like, where would you stand? What would you do to maybe, you know, a
Yeah. I
vote for
mean,
PVE lobbies, or where are you at?
yeah, I mean that's going to be what they do, right? Like they'll say that they're not going to do that, but eventually that's going to happen, right? And maybe this is enough because of the culture of our creators. Maybe they don't ever need to, but like I've seen this with lots of games where the kind of game design ran counter to the community's desire to have like a non-combative lobby. Sea of Thieves is a great example that comes to mind. And
Thank
guess
you.
what? They held out for a very long time, and then eventually they caved and they said, "Nope, actually, we're going to have PVE lobbies." And then the people like me who really liked PvP were really disappointed because part of the joy of a like PvE players who don't want PvP in their game, they can have fun without me. But as a PvP player, I can't really have fun without them.
That's
You
a
know what I
great
mean?
point.
Like
I
if
agree.
you're in a lobby that where there's no gray area, and it's not because I only want to shoot at people who don't want to fight back. That's not it at all. It's
No,
that
that feels wrong
if
too.
yeah, that feels wrong as well. It's the gray area. And in an extraction shooter, there's that moment where you're not really sure if somebody's going to engage with you or not, and there's a little bit of like grayness, and that to me is like one of the more interesting parts of Arc Raiders, especially versus other extraction shooters. Like in Marathon, if you aren't shooting at somebody first, like you're an idiot.
You're
Like
dead.
you
Right.
better
Yeah,
be
yeah.
doing
You're
that,
done.
right? So like,
Go back to
but
a
I
different
think I
game.
think that I think the beauty of Arc Raiders is that there was a slight like trust, like I'm not quite sure, and you saw the videos of like rats trying to do betrays and then it turning around on them and that, and it was like, oh, this is really cool. And I think if you remove that, or if you engineer it so that it happens less, you're hurting your own game. And so my guess is either this will just work out because the culture, like the people who want PvE, they'll get it 90% of the time, and the people that want PvP are just going to play against sweaty players. I do think it'll make a worse experience for PvP players, and I think those PvP players will probably leave. And then for the PvE players, they'll probably be happy. But it's so brutal because there's this game design thing that I as a gamer I really want to preserve because I see how passionate developers are about this idea they have, right? Like Sea of Thieves is a great idea. This is piracy, anything can happen, and that includes betrayals, but it also includes cooperation. And if you segment it, you completely kill that idea. It's the same thing with Souls likes. Like you can add an easy mode to Souls likes, but kind of the whole point is
Whole
forcing
essence
you
of
to
that
die a
game.
lot and get
Sure.
better, right? And like if you take that out, it kind of undermines the entire game. And so there's a question of accessibility and giving players what they want while also not destroying kind of the premise. And I think sometimes players are really bad about knowing what's good for them, right? They don't know when they're being given their medicine, and they'll just say like, "Well, I want this thing," and then they get it, and then it kills the thing that they loved. And I've just seen that happen a lot. And so I'm a little wary about making a change when the whole idea of an extraction shooter is that gray area and a mix of PvE and PvP and kind of not ever really knowing. And I think if you minimize that, you minimize kind of the vision of the game. But that said, there's lots of extraction shooters now. There's even other really high quality ones, and maybe leaning into PvE will work for our creators because it is a fascinating test case that I've never seen in any other extraction shooter where that community overwhelmingly wants to chill and have a group hug, and good for them. Not for me. It's not good for me, but it's good for them. So
It's true.
Well, what if like to counter that just a little bit, not nothing crazy.
sure, no, don't counter a little. Come at me, bro.
No,
Like
no,
counter a
no,
lot.
no, because
Yeah.
Full
because
send it,
I,
David. Full send
no,
it.
there's
Yes,
no
we'll
full
send
send.
it.
But what if the safer seas version? What if the PVE only version of that is just so not beneficial for you to play? Like, what if like when you're getting loot, you're getting such a fraction of the loot that like I'm typically more friendly than I am let's go in and shoot people. But if it's not as worthwhile to go in there, I'm always still going to go into the PvP lobbies because, like you said, I love that gray area. I want there to be that, okay, am I going to get shot at? Is there going to be that that conflict with getting out? And if there's better loot, I'm always going to go for that one. I'm into a raid, I'm into a trials because I want the better stuff. Where if you have people that are just like, I'm not PvP. My buddy Special Adam is he if you shoot at him, he's just going to stand there like this and let you kill him and say, go ahead, finish me, I'll come back later and go back and get his lemons and apricots and on the next run. But let them do that, right? Like give them, all right, so you get a fourth of the amount of lemons you would normally get on a safe version, but give the, playing the game the way we're supposed to play it, you get a little bit better loot, you get more stuff, you make it a better reward for the people that have that, possible conflict.
Sure. So my problem with that compromise is that it's a compromise. So what
Oh,
you're
there it
effectively
is.
doing is making the experience worse for both people, right? The PvE players now have a worse experience because you're adding an artificial level of grind to their experience by giving them more loot. So they have to play like 4 times as much to get those lemons and apricots. And if the game is not tuned for that level of play, they're just getting a worse experience. And then the PvP people are also getting a worse experience because you're diminishing the kinds of players that are in that lobby. The people who are just straight up never going to engage with it, or the people who are new and learning the ropes. Now they can't meet a PvP player who decides to be friendly and guides them. And so I think you're diminishing the experience for both. Is it as bad as just separating the communities and having like church and state with no advantage for playing in PvP? No, I think that's a good. If you're going to separate them, that's a good way to do it, to add like incentive for them to test their waters with PvP if you're not a PvP player. But I do think it just inherently makes the experience worse for both parties, especially in terms of game design. But yeah, that's a problem I've had with like lots of games when they try to do this. Is like, I would rather a developer tell me their vision for a game and just make that game, rather than like compromise this thing that they wanted to do and create something that feels worse for everybody. So that's where I stand on it. But also, I'm a purist with this stuff. Like
That's true.
I want developers to have a point of view and an opinion and just like go for it. And I think sometimes, again, like players don't know when to take their medicine. Sometimes this is just my perspective as somebody who plays a ton of video games and sees communities kind of shoot themselves in the foot occasionally. I mean, you saw it happen with Destiny, DJ, right? I told you when they made all those changes to PvP, the PvP community was going to flee and it was going to kill the game.
Yeah.
Now there's two. I don't know if you saw a couple weeks ago, there were a total of 2 teams playing Trials of Osiris on the weekend, and they were just fighting against each other over and over again because they were the only 2 people in the matchmaking queue.
Well, you got to
That's
play to
how
be the
bad it
best.
got.
Old school
You got
Call
to
of
be
Duty.
the you got to
obviously.
play to be the best. All right, so one last layer to that. In Arc
Sure.
Raiders, they have map conditions. Our
Sure.
solution to that was, what if there's just one map condition that comes up where you are friendly, so it doesn't pull as much from the community. It's like, all right, so it shows up 2 times or 3 times every 24 hours. Otherwise, you're still forced to go into the main game and play in the PvP world. But like, there's a friendly option for you. You come in and you're like, hey, for 1 hour every 7 hours, 8 hours, you get to get in there without getting shot at, then it still creates people who are playing, and you still have to go into the normal mode if you're going to play more than just the friendlies.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Um, I don't mind that. I would be very curious to
We did
know
it.
what your I'd be very curious to know what your suggested condition is for that. What is it? The Care Bear stare?
Yeah,
Like what
Care
is
Bears,
happening?
yes,
What
all
is,
the
what
love.
is happening?
Yeah,
What is happening in that section of the map that doesn't let you shoot other players?
lots of pillows
Care
everywhere. I
Bears
don't know. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
We'll pitch it to
Um,
Embark and see
I
what they
think I
say.
think they
yeah.
just really lean into that. Yeah, just lean into the Care Bear thing and maybe sign off on the copyright for Care
I think
Bear.
it's not a bad idea, but I think again, like you're adding a mode to the game that runs counter to what an extraction shooter is philosophically. And so, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like when you do the tutorial quest, that is 100% an offline PvE experience, and pretty much every extraction shooter has a version of that in the game. So it's not unheard of. Like if I were building the game and you were like a new player, I would probably have like the first hour of the game be in lobbies with no other people, right? Just to
Right.
like get you acclimated with the game. And allow you to grab some loot. So I think there should be a space of some kind for newer players or people who are learning the ropes or people who just purely are like checking off their tasks. But my counter to that would be then don't let them complete quests when they're playing in that
Agreed.
effect.
Very much
Like
agreed. I think it should
they
be
shouldn't be able to make forward progress. And Marathon does something like this actually. Marathon doesn't let you complete quests when you do a solo scav run.
like a
No
rook
It's
quest on
run.
actually
the
called
Rook
a rook
run.
run, but
Yep.
yeah, rook run. They don't let you do that, and I think that's actually a good solution. But I am already seeing players be like, "Oh, you should be able to complete quests alone," and I'm kind of like, should you though?
Should you
Should you?
though?
That's what
Should you
solos is for,
though?
though. They already have the answer to that, right? Like the answer's already baked into the game. You just got to play solos. You just can't Rook run.
Well, and that's like
Yeah.
fundamentally though. I know that like we've talked in like Embark put out, they're like we aren't here solely for PvP. We want that like tension. We want that. So I mean, and that's where we sit on, or at least I sit on it. That if there's an option for people, I'm all for it. I'll never do it. I would rather be, maybe put more arc, maybe call it a heavier arc area, and it's no shooting at people, but the arc are harder, and you get more rocketeers, you get more leapers everywhere, and you have to dodge them, but less loot. Give
I
them
kind
less
of
loot.
think like my theory is that the problem will solve itself because I don't think that the PvP players are going to stick with arc raiders. To be honest with you.
Well, we said that when Marathon came out, I thought most of them would jump to Marathon because of how I did the free play weekend. I was like, people are gonna if they're playing PvP, they're coming here. This is where they're gonna go.
Well,
So
it's a very different type of game. I actually don't
Yes,
think arc raiders and marathon have a lot of overlap in terms of
I
their
agree.
audience.
I agree.
Yeah, like just the FPS like community is very different. And I think a lot of them looked at arc raiders and they said no right when they saw the player
no third
perspective.
person, no third person.
Yeah, as
for
soon as
us,
they saw
sir.
third person and they saw what type of game it looked like, I think they were just like, "What is this division?" And they just stopped caring
I
about
literally
it.
have an
Oh.
entire group of friends that I only play FPS with, and when I tried to get them to play Arc Raiders, they were like, "No, we don't mess with third person
And
games." And
I
they
know
just
several
completely cut it
people
off
in
right
my
at the time.
life who were like big Escape from Tarkov people, and they saw Arc Raiders and they were like, "Ew!" Like
Not a chance.
immediately.
Third
Not a
person camera,
chance.
Yeah,
I'm
not a
out.
chance in hell. So
Yeah.
I think it's different types. I would be willing to bet that Arc Raiders community has a way bigger overlap with Helldivers 2 than it does Marathon. I would be
Okay.
willing to
Agree.
bet my house on that.
And the only people that can kill you in Helldivers are your teammates, right?
That's right, on
And they can
accident.
do that a
Yeah.
lot.
On
Yeah.
accident.
That's
Yeah,
my experience.
yeah. That's true.
I do just want to bring up, you made a good point earlier, but I do want to say it. I think Embark is doing a really good job so far out of the gates here, walking the line between their game vision and listening to their community. I don't think they haven't been pushed over yet. And they also haven't been like too hardlined in their own vision. So they've done a really nice
Yeah, that's good.
job of walking that tightrope.
I had thought that they just added a PvE game
No,
mode.
not
So
at all.
I'm
That
glad
would be
that wasn't true.
crazy.
I
We'll
think I
get you back
probably
on for
half
that
read
episode.
I think I
True.
probably half read a headline or something, but I was like, oh, what are they doing? So yeah, I do think that solution is at least a little better.
Totally. All right,
Love
well,
it.
let's keep it moving here, boys. Let's get into the meat. We got an update in Arc Raiders today, 1.21.0, the 21st update. Great number, 21. And Flashpoint update is coming next week. So we'll have that, and we'll have a longer episode next week covering that. But yeah, Travis, before we go any further, we want to do a little segment with you. You down for a little fun segment?
Do it. Let's segment it out.
This is called Pop Piss, something we do every week. We'll put an arbitrary amount of time on the clock.
It's up.
We will hit you with some rapid fire questions. The quicker and more concise you answer the said questions, the more arbitrary points you will be awarded. Can we sign you up, sir?
Do it.
All right.
All right, Cody, you're jumping in first, and then I got the second 5 or 7, however many I have.
I'll go first. Sounds good. Let's do it, brother.
Go, buddy.
Hit me with the 3, 2, 1.
All right, on 1. 1, 2, 3.
You said on 1.
I know, every time.
First.
I know. So go. He's late.
All right, Travis. Controller versus mouse and key. What's peak for you and why? Okay. If you could travel,
mouse and keyboard is for sending emails. Next.
Boom, roasted me. If you could travel back in time, where would you go and why?
Ancient Rome. It's sick.
All right. What does a typical Sunday for the TieGuyTravis look like? What are we doing on Sundays?
Work. Next question.
Excellent. This man just one word and everything.
Concise.
What internet gaming slang, say, let's go with like within the last 5 years, are you happy is no longer gone out of the vernacular, out of the gamer vernacular?
Out of the gamer vernacular. I'll be excited when Goop leaves.
Yes,
Dave, you got a buddy.
Yes, I fucking hate it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
In your professional life, what was the worst job assigned to you as a reviewer?
That Postal 4 No Regrets. Awful game. Don't play it.
Excellent.
2 out of 10.
Okay, last but not least, if you existed in the Destiny universe, what class would you be? Not just what you played, but if you were IRL in Destiny, who would you be?
If I were IRL in Destiny, probably Warlock because I'm a nerd. But my soul says Titan.
There it is. All right. Next, how many ties do you own?
300 plus. I've not
300. I was gonna say ballpark. I'll take it. Sheesh, is right. How many have you played the game Cory in the House?
I have.
You have. What would you rate it on an IGN scale?
NA. It's barely a video game.
All right, so not shouldn't be on Metacritic. Got it. Do you think the birds that are in Arc Raiders are secretly working for the Arc? Like when you run past them, are they friends?
Sure.
Sure.
Yes, they're evil. Why not?
All right, and are they robots?
The birds work for Sauron in Lord of the Rings, so I'm gonna say yes.
So are they robots or are they actual birds?
Actual birds.
Actual birds.
Excellent answer.
Close. All right, what is the most overrated game?
The Last of Us.
Oh, I love that. What is the most underrated game?
Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind.
Okay. And then what has been your favorite console in your history?
Xbox 360.
Okay. And what is the best enemy in Arc Raiders?
The Tick.
Yes, great answer.
Yeah.
Dude, Travis,
200
he had in the
billion
outline that
points.
He was going to say wrong. It's the Tick, but you.
I did. Look at you go. I've never been so proud. He had 2 amazing answers. No more Goop and the Tick being the right. Oh my god! I knew I liked you. Wow, you're first place on the leaderboard. Thank you.
Awesome.
Straight
Cool.
Straight to first, dude. Travis, you're very stoic. I haven't seen you give me a full smile the whole time, man.
Well, why would he?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I am not a very emotional person, but I have been told I should project more joy when I talk in like interviews. I do interviews for IGN and stuff, and my most common feedback from my editor is like, "Hey, you should try to be a human." I'm quite robotic, but trust me, I'm having a good time.
Heck yeah.
I could be an ARC. It's quite possible.
I've done a lot of raids with him. He's happy right now, so
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of unhappy.
I was an insult comic for a decade, so I tend to show my happiness and joy by talking shit. So if you play games with me, you'll understand that. DJ has learned that the hard way.
It's the best way, the only way.
By the end of this, once you got the people read on the both of us, you want to get into some insult comics instead of doing a workbench this week?
I don't think you guys are ready for that. No,
I'm always ready, Travis.
I don't think you guys are ready for me to absolutely destroy you online, but that's okay.
I'm ready.
Next one. Next episode. Sure. Next episode for sure.
Next time. All right, real quick. I'm just going to go through the Arc Raiders update 1.21.0. Just read to you guys here. We got a new Raider tool in Spy class set and a new backpack, the Cartographer set. David, are we copping or are we dropping this week, brother?
I'm not getting it, but I bet you would.
The backpack's already on my character.
Yeah, there it is.
And I love the spyglass. I just didn't want to put any more money in the game, so I just went with the backpack.
I'm gonna pass this week, but next time.
Okay. The game fixed a crash that would sometimes occur with DirectX 11, which is a graphical enhancement tool via Windows. Fixed an issue where players could get stuck inside the harvester between destroyed arc parts. That is good, no fun. Fixed an exploit that allowed players to walk through walls while picking up a fuel cell or fuel crate. David, were you able to do that at all? Did you try?
No, and I thought they fixed this like weeks or months ago, and but maybe they didn't. I don't know. It seems like something they said they already fixed, but they didn't fix. And now they're fixing it again.
Yeah, it's like the
Do they
trigger
still have
nade
the
patch.
flamethrowers in the rooms, by the way?
They do, yeah.
They do, yeah.
Nice, hell yeah.
It's harder
That's
to get in
awesome.
now, but yeah,
That's
it's
maybe my favorite patch
What
ever.
what a fix, right?
the best workaround.
It was really, really good. Because the problem with forcing yourself through doors is that it's not an Embark problem. It is a UE5 problem. Unreal Engine 5 has that problem across a whole bunch of games where it's really not good at containing you within borders. So their fix is elegant and hilarious and one of my favorite patch notes ever.
True. We had a good laugh about that when that came out for sure.
Yeah.
All right. In an important note from the devs, kind of what we were referencing earlier, but they wanted to point out that these updates are focused on smaller quality of life improvements and store rotations. The larger, more content-heavy updates are currently planned for the end of each month. So I think that's just to get our expectations in line with where they're at.
So wait, when you read that, you didn't hear them yelling when they said that? Because when I took that note, I put it in all caps.
Screaming at us?
Yeah, they're like, guys, leave us alone. We're at the end of each month, we'll give you a better, expectation of what's going on, but we're just trying to do week to week here. Leave us alone is what I read. But if you read it like that, that seems probably better.
They're starting to feel it, dude. Internally, they're like,
well,
gamers, dude. They just
guys,
expect so much.
My goodness, it's only a week. They put out something every week for us, at least. That's crazy.
They did also let us know that they are hard at work getting ready for the Flashpoint update next week, which I'm incredibly excited about. Shredders are coming. Shredders are coming.
I mean, I know we talked about it earlier on, but they do give us a lot of stuff frequently. I mean, once a month they're giving us more stuff to do, more projects, more little playthroughs to, more trinkets to earn. I don't know. It reminds me of Destiny, but like I'm enjoying this a lot. Travis, I loved playing Destiny and doing all the crap that they made us do, and the amount of grind that I put into Arc Raiders to finish all the stuff each time they put something out. I'm enjoying it. It's good and it feels worthwhile, even though I lose it after each cycle, which is crazy.
Yeah, I don't mind losing it, but I will say, like, when I try to, again, keep in mind, I try not to come back to games until like I think I'm really going to get my time's worth, just because I don't have a lot of free time. But when I come back to a game, I look for like major changes. Like I would come back if there was a new expansion or they added a new enemy that changes the game in some way, or there's a new map or something like that. To my awareness, at least, as somebody who's more detached from the game now, there haven't been anything like that, right? Like it's just been like projects and like you're off like doing new missions. I know they added like a holiday one where I was like collecting, was it snow flowers or something like that? I can't really remember what they were having me collect.
We called them moose
candleberries.
Candleberries or moose
candleberries. That's what it was. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember the candleberries where I was running around and like it was like cold outside. But that's the only one I ever saw that really added any like meat beyond, hey, here's like more chores to do.
Well,
yeah,
so
you're totally right. Like Stella was the last release map, but in April, hopefully by the end of April, we will have a brand new map in the game. So come back and join us, man.
Last update, they did give us 2 enemies. They gave us 2 new enemies last update as well.
They did. But
I mean, they're very similar.
Like
they're
not.
I wouldn't go over
additions.
Right.
It's not like,
what are they? Are they like more drones with different weapons or something?
Correct.
Same but different.
Okay,
yeah,
so
nothing.
There's
crazy.
A flying arc that's heavily armored that shoots a flamethrower, and then there's a ground-based arc that's like a pop, like on steroids.
But Travis, we've talked a lot in the past about like games that are either you pay, a yearly subscription for, or it's like a pay to play, like you pay for each season. And I think you have to get that value out of, and it's a $40 game, right? Like you don't have to pay each month to get the seasonal pass to go and do whatever you're doing. You paid $40 one time, and they're giving us pretty decent updates for what we're paying, at least in my opinion. I don't know.
There are
if
season
you
passes
said-
though, right?
No, I don't think so. I think you pay the $40 and you get they're called
There
decks.
has not been a financial investment battle pass yet in the game. They might bring it to the game, but as of now, it still has not been a thing. It's all in-game currency.
Yeah, and you can buy from the
Right.
store, but we've had I think really long chats on that. You know, Destiny is trying to get both, and they're trying to hit both. But Arc Raiders is just that
No,
$40
I
investment.
appreciate that they're just doing one, right? They're just doing the microtransaction as their ongoing thing, but um, it's not so much like I don't care about their business model. Like, at the end of the day, that's for them to think about. I care about like what is the reason you're going to bring me back into your game and what sorts of things I'm going to be doing that are different or unique to the last time I was playing. And so the answer to that for some games is really clear. It's like, hey, there's a new World of Warcraft expansion coming out. You're going to be doing a whole new quest line. There's a raid, like etc. With games like this, it's a little tougher. But Embark has shown that they are good at this with the finals, another game I play, because every time they come out with something, there is like a reason, right? It's like it's a new game mode. We added these weapons, etc. Like they kind of sell you on the reason to get back in. And the finals is a very similar business model, except for I think they're completely free, but they
Correct.
do paid, season passes and microtransactions, that sort of thing. So
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, man, because Dave and I are both gamers that are like fully invested in one game at a time. And to hear, like for us, this is what's caught us, and we're playing it day in and day out, night after night. So it is interesting to think about the game from the perspective like what's going to draw players that might have enjoyed their experience, left for a minute, what's bringing them back. And I think you're totally right in saying like a map or a big map condition or some sort of enemy
like
type.
a map. Like if I would have read like a social media post from Embark that said like the first new map's coming, that's the sort of thing that would get me to be like, okay, it's time to like find a crew and hop back in and play it.
Heck
But
yeah.
I'm probably not going to be hopping in like when they have me collect frost berries or whatever,
That's
candleberries.
fair. That's fair.
Like I jumped in for that one, and I just remember being like, oh, this isn't really much.
Literally nothing
So
different. Yeah.
I didn't really end up sticking with it
Well,
after that.
on that level, then, would you say that they've like won you over with at least like the gameplay loop? So you're invested in the game enough that
Oh
like
yeah.
say new map drops, you're coming back.
Yeah,
I
I
know
mean, I
your
gave it
IGN
I
review
gave it
was
a 9 out of 10. Yeah,
Sure.
Crazy.
I've probably only given like 5 or 6 games a 9 out of 10 ever at IGN. I'm not a very I don't
You're
give it as
real with
easy.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're fair.
and Arc Raiders is awesome, and in some ways it is the best extraction shooter we have. In some ways it's also like not the best extraction shooter for me now that Marathon's out, because I am a PvP guy. But it is it's very good. And my first concern when I played it is, okay, this is obviously going to blow up. It's super fun. Like everybody's going to want to play this. Will it keep people's attention? It's a lot easier to keep somebody's attention when your game is more PvP focused and is a very noisy, obnoxious game like Fortnite, where like, every day there's a new like party happening over here with crossovers and stuff. And Arc Raiders struck me as not that, because it doesn't have a good in-game store. I don't know if they fixed that, but the in-game stores was terrible when I was there. You're like buying like different colored baggy pants as like
Slowly
your
but surely, but it's still
Slowly
$10.
but surely,
That's
right?
that's good
it,
that it's getting a little better, because I was like
blows our
that
minds
doesn't
that
really, yeah.
blows our minds that the same studio that made the finals and how good their cosmetics are also made our creators.
Yeah, that is
hello.
incredibly puzzling. And my theory is that they did the same thing that like Marathon is doing now, where they're trying to keep it real with like the in-game universe more than they're trying to make money.
Yes.
And I think that's admirable. Like the finals has the advantage of being an obnoxious universe where it is a game show, and so you can kind of just throw shit at the wall. Our
Super.
creators is trying to keep it real with like, hey, we don't want like Darth Vader in our game, because that wouldn't make sense in this universe we've created. And I do respect that, but reviewing a game is one thing, because you're just saying, is this game good? Right? I've reviewed games that I thought were good, that I knew when I reviewed them they weren't going to be successful, and they were probably going to have to shut down their servers in a couple months. And some of those happened.
High guard.
Anyone?
There it is. There it is.
Yeah. But other games, like you play it and they're going to be successful, and then you just wonder how long they can keep it up. And Arc Raiders was one of those games where I was like, well, Embark has a pretty good track record, but like, how do you make this game loop feel new? And how do you keep content coming at a pace that will satisfy gamers? Because PvE content takes way more time to make than PvP content. Like
Right, right,
PvP is
right.
almost evergreen because it's players making their own fun. But like in a game where most of the community wants PvE, you can't really rely on that. And then the other thing is the gameplay loop that Embark designed for our creators undoubtedly included them taking way more time to get to the end of that loop because they thought that the game was going to be more PvP heavy than it is. And because the culture that captured it is PvE, I'm willing to bet that Embark was like freaking out after 2 weeks when people were completing every single quest line immediately because they were coming up against zero PvP resistance in their
It's funny you
runs.
said that
And
because
like,
they publicly commented on that, like that they were mind blown at
yeah,
how quickly people were getting things done in
What?
game.
yeah, exactly. Because you make a game, you assume like in Marathon, they don't have to worry about that because there's people who can't even finish one quest line because they're just getting crapped on by other players
Yes.
constantly.
Yes.
But you do have to worry about that in Arc Raiders, and so I just think they have some really unique obstacles that are unique to the type of game that they've made and the type of community that just happened to fall in love with their game. And I'm excited that they are more successful already than many extraction shooters, maybe any extraction shooter has ever been, which is awesome. But my first thought with these sorts of games is, all right, you made this game that you want everybody to play every day of their lives, and that's a lot to ask for if you aren't able to keep a pace. So we'll see how that turns out.
One of my big criticisms was that we got through I got through the quest line, and then it just felt like, because people would be around, I'd be like going to a part of the map to figure out the quest, and people were like, oh yeah, it's over here, let me show you where you need to go. And I got it done. I mean, I think I did that in like a week or two to get through, because I was like, oh, we'll talk about it on the next podcast. And then after that, it just reset, and it didn't, like a Destiny campaign, a Destiny story, a quest line feels like there's something to it, where I don't think they had as much in mind with the Arc Raiders one, because I don't think they thought people were going to go out and do that as much. And I think
Yeah.
they need to jump into, hey, this is our Arc Raiders campaign if they're going to try to hold that audience. But we'll see. I mean, we are supposed to get a new map next month, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
see what they do.
That's awesome. I do think that they have one of the other things that maybe they weren't expecting is people to care about and have a lot of questions about the universe that they made, because
The
it does
lore.
feel like they kind of maybe was an afterthought. That happens sometimes in extraction shooters where it kind of feels like the world was built around the gameplay loop rather than the other way around. And so I think that they probably need to invest in like proper writers. They've already invested in voice actors, as we recently learned, which is cool. So I think
Yes.
that that's the first step, is care about the performances. The second step is care about the writing and like where the story's going. If they could do that, I think Arc Raiders would be,
Build that world.
Peak.
even more
Well,
sensational.
My
It'd be
name is
so
Spike.
peak.
Here we
Yeah.
come. Yeah.
Let me bring this up because it just dropped this week. So I know you're tapped into the Marathon universe. Cryo Archive released this week just for the weekend. Did you play it at all /
I
get to
sure
watch any
did.
of it? Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm on the review for IGN, so I've got to play as much
Brilliant.
as I can.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think I didn't get to play it at all, but literally just watching, like, it is a 10 out of 10, man. Like, that looks like if you took everything that they want you to learn from 100 hours of Marathon gameplay, packed it into one 25, 30-minute raid, like, it's all there, right? So how does Embark bring something of that level to our
Yeah.
creators? Like,
I think if they're leaning into the fact that they have captured the PvE community in an extraction shooter, which is a crazy, I didn't know that there was a PvE community in an extraction shooter because it's kind of counter to what the
Doesn't make
genre
sense.
is.
we
Right.
found them. They're
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, they're here. I think that you just have to lean into that, and you have to make some sort of like uber challenging PvE event that requires everybody in the server to be working together.
Dave's been saying that since day one.
Yeah, they kind of did that with like the giant walkers that are around on some of the maps. Like those you can't really beat with a small crew, or at least you couldn't one back when
At
I was playing.
first,
Maybe now people have good shit, but
you definitely can, yeah.
um, yeah. But at first it was like, oh, you kind of have to be working together with another crew, which means that I just think like more of that stuff would be cool. World events is another thing you could easily do. They kind of already did that with the Candleberries, but like a world event where like something's happening that requires players to like group up and survive, something like that. Like there's a lot of stuff you could do, you know. have it so, players that get down can't get back up, like something like that, like some special mode or event, or who knows what ideas they come out with. But if I were them, I would be thinking the exact opposite of Cryo Archive. Like Cryo Archive is
Yes.
a testament to this is the most PvP thing that's ever been created, and we put it in this uber complicated, dense, high risk, high reward environment. They should just be leaning into the group hug. That's what I call Arc Raiders. It's an extraction group
Yeah.
hug, right? It's like lean into that and just make content that is in the exact opposite corner of the diagram of like sweaty, dedicated players who are interested in working together in some way. I mean, I think you can also add PvP focused maps like Stellamontis. I just think that
Yes.
More of
that
those, please.
that
Or,
prop. I,
or
I mean, I want more of it, but I think clearly I'm in the minority, and so I'm not going to like. If I'm giving advice to Embark, I'm not telling them, "Hey, cater to the players like me." Like
Yeah.
they
I
don't
agree.
care about me.
I
You know what I
agree.
mean? Cater to the players like DJ who like really love this game and want to do that stuff together. And then maybe you force the PvP people to get out of their comfort zone and try these activities that require them to work with other players. Like that's the way I would be doing it.
well, I
Yeah, that was a
think
good learning lesson for me, man. Dave got me doing like the matriarch and the queen, and that's something I would have never done in the past. I would have just spent 500 hours shooting at other people, but those
Yeah.
that was a really enjoyable moment. So you're right. Get out of your comfort zone a little bit on both sides of things, and you're gonna have a better time.
I think on that end too, though, like a map condition where it is based on PvP, where you get better loot by, maybe there's an additional thing you get if you down a player to get. I want the PvP in the game too, though. I mean, I love the PvE aspect, but I
I mean, so do
think
I,
there's
but I think we can
options.
both agree that that's not like where the
Well,
end game should
right, right,
go,
right,
right?
right.
Like the
Yes.
aspirational activities should not be PvP based because I don't even think they have the community to support it. I think if they built an activity like that, if they just took Cryo Archive and put it in their game,
It wouldn't go
nobody would
well.
want to play it
Yeah.
who is an Arc Raider player. Like it would just be like me and Cody and that'd be it.
Well,
Like that would be.
how does that feel towards I mean, so I haven't even looked into it like as far as like a raid, but like what's like as far as Destiny goes, how does
I
it
can explain it
feel?
to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
please,
Not
Talk about
please,
the
really a
explanation,
raid.
please.
dude.
So
It's brilliant.
so
It's
here's what it
brilliant. It's
is.
brilliant.
It's really fantastic. You are in a kind of a labyrinthine spoke and wheel shaped uh map, and you spawn randomly in one of these
It's the
farms.
it's the
Okay.
OG marathon ship, right? Is that correct?
It is. It's
Okay.
actually the first floor of the marathon ship, so you can
Ooh.
actually see in the loading screen that the our cryo archive is about this big on a ship that's enormous. So it's
That's
like, all
insane.
right, this
Okay.
is just the beginning, which is pretty crazy. But you start and you basically are fighting up against like pretty tough PvE encounters where you're getting just insane loot. And the only way to get out of the map and extract is if you increase your security clearance by finding security cards, by killing enemies, finding them in loot and that sort of thing. And then you enter other wings of this spoken wheel thing. And as you do it, it's getting you closer to the center of this big map. So as soon as you get out of your security clearance area and you start traveling around kind of this ring that's kind of like a vortex, like it's like spiraling inwards, you're going to start running into other crews that are doing the same thing in their wings. And so obviously they are all, it requires you to bring at least 5,000 credits of gear in with you with your loadout. So you have to like put a stake in it. You have to ante up. So they're all using some of their better gear, and then they're finding even better gear in the moments leading up to these encounters. So a lot of them are in golds and purples. And so it is just the sweatiest, highest stake thing. If you can get through all of that, I believe there's 5 teams that spawn. So if you manage to fight your way through all 4 of the other teams and come out as a survivor, you can extract. I think you can extract when you get to like security level 3, but then you're
It's pretty
fighting other
early on.
players for the extraction shots. But if you can kill everybody, your options are extract and get out of there, or try to delve all the way into the center of the Cryer archive and take on the ultimate challenge, which is a
So like
boss
a raid
fight.
boss.
It is a raid boss. It's a
basically a
raid
raid
boss
boss,
in the middle
yeah.
of an
Raid
extraction
boss.
raid where you're already time pressed.
Yeah, see that
Yeah, you're
sounds.
time
He
pressed
sold
and
the hell out of
fighting it.
this.
Yeah.
Coda,
And
where
then
was it at?
on top of that, while you're making your way toward the center and unlocking better security clearances and working your way to the middle of the Cry Archive, you're also finding, or you can bring with you, keys that unlock vaults along the way, and the vaults have even better loot. And so it's kind of a Russian nesting doll of like complex extraction shooter loot raid mechanic stuff in it. Like you could go in and you could just loot stuff, kill players, and then leave without ever engaging with the big monster that's in the middle of the archive. Or you can bring keys, go into these vaults, focus on them, try to avoid player combat, and then do as little as you can and escape with good loot. Or you can just kill everyone, open all the vaults, and fight this crazy monster that spawns in the middle of the map. And so there are people right now that are like, oh, I'll never be able to do Cryo Archive. Well, not really, right? Because Cryo Archive is it's three different things. Like I did Cryo Archive, but I didn't even touch the boss because I knew I wasn't ready for that, right? And so there's going to be a moment where I try that, but like everybody can do it, but it's kind of like what level of like ambition do you have for like how far you're going to be able to go down this rabbit hole with that event? Like what level of engagement do you want? And it can be minimal, and it can be like I'm going for all the, all the tokens.
Max
and I
win,
think,
baby.
I
yeah,
love
max
it.
win. Like
Okay,
obviously you
all
want
right.
to do that part, but it is brutal. It is brutal. Like every
I mean,
team is
I'm
absolutely dripping with sweat.
my
because
palms
they
are sitting there
don't want
sweating
to
just
do it.
Yeah, I know,
watching, and
right?
I'm
Yeah, I'm
watching
right.
like Apex
Yeah.
pros play, like the creme de la creme of like FPS
Yeah.
mastery, and they're struggling with it. It's insane, man. I
That's-
Yeah,
love,
it really
let
It's
me
is
like a
say this, in
crazy.
2026, I love that a game is still willing to say like, hey man, this is really impossibly hard. And like the
Yeah.
majority, like 99% of you are not going to be able to do this perfectly.
What's funny
I
is
love that a game would still do that.
when I was talking about Marathon before it came out, I was so um, pessimistic about its chances to succeed because it was three niches in one. It was a super sweaty PvP shooter, which already is going to turn people off because a lot of people just aren't into the PvP competitive side. It's an extraction shooter, which is a niche within that niche because it is a specific type of sweaty PvP shooter where you're now doing loot, and it's got like a formula that some people just aren't going to click with. And then on top of that, it's a super weird science fiction game where like loading screens have moths on people's faces and caterpillars,
Which I love.
eating weird shit.
Oh,
And like that also puts people off. Like that's the part that my wife doesn't like. She doesn't like looking at the weird creatures and that sort of stuff. Like it freaks her out. Right. So those three levels of niche mean that this audience is already just going to be only that big, right? It's not going to be the biggest game ever because it can't. It's backed itself into too many corners, right? And then on top of that, they did Cryo Archive, which is so funny to me because it's a fourth niche. It's like, okay,
You're not
and
wrong. I
now
didn't
the
look at it that way.
aspirational activity is like a raid where people are also trying to kill you. Like, it's almost like Bungie tried to make a game that had the smallest population of the world that would be interested
they
in
were
playing it.
like, we really
It's
want to
so
do Destiny
funny.
3,
when
so
you
like
frame
let's
it
just
that way,
fail.
it's so
and
true, but like I am that player, right? Like that
Me
is
too.
made for
Me
me.
too.
That makes me so excited because like I want.
I'm absolutely stoked because I'm that guy. But
Yep.
like,
I'm
there's just I know that most people aren't going to be with me. You know what I mean?
That's a great
It's
point.
just
well after Destiny 2, where it was like, all right, the raids are kind of like everybody can do everything and everybody gets a loot no matter what, and now this makes me want. I want the days where it was like not everybody gets everything. You don't deserve it. If you can't do it, you don't earn it. Even trials, they toned down.
Well-
They were like, well, you can get it if you play enough. I hated that.
Here's the beautiful thing about an extraction shooter, DJ,
Yeah.
is you don't have to do Cryo Archive to get the loot. You just have to kill somebody who did.
Let's
And
go.
so I know people, you can't kill another person who completed a raid in Crucible and take their Galahorn. In this game, you can.
Yep.
And so like I've seen people lose their gold weapons and armor and everything that they got from doing Cryo Archive to a player that
ratted
just
on
got
this.
lucky.
Oh,
And that
yep.
is so funny. It's
You're
so funny to
just-
watch like,
You're just renting
Yeah.
it. It's not yours forever. Good luck.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
I love it.
So, Travis, let me ask one last thing here. Like, how do you see this game surviving? Do you see Marathon still being a relevant video game in 5 years? Let's say 5 years from now.
It's going to be really tough, but if any developer could do it, it's Bungie. Like they've proven that they have what it takes to run a live service game. And people forget Destiny was not successful when it first came out. It was successful in terms of sales. It was panned by reviewers. It was panned by players. Nobody liked that game. And then Vault of Glass came out and it developed a very niche community and it grew that just over years. It grew it and grew it and grew it. And then it shrunk and their player population got older and older and nobody wants to play the game anymore. But
so if that happened for If that happened
Yeah.
for Destiny, is there space in Marathon to do that same thing where it's starting niche and maybe they
Yeah.
like loosen the barrier to entry a little bit and get
I
Arc Raiders
think if they
players?
I think if they loosened it too much, they would lose the
The
people
core,
that
right?
really like it, the
I
core.
agree.
But I do think there's room to just like not loosen, but expand. Like they can expand on the idea, add maps, they can add different modes. They already added like duos, for example. That's like people
Oh,
underestimate how big duos is as like there's some people who only have one person they want to play with and they hate the idea of matchmaking. And so like just doing little things like that, I think increases slightly. And then maybe, people learn about the story or they see people doing Cryo Archive and they say, I don't know what that is, but I want to be a part of it. Like, I think they just have to keep at it and I think they can grow it. But I do think Marathon is never going to be as big as like the big budget Call of Duty game. It's never, I don't even think it'll ever be as big as Arc Raiders because its appeal is just inherently more narrow. And I think that's okay. You can survive in the games industry with a narrow scope if you just really are badass at catering to that group of people. And I hope that's what happens with Marathon, but they're really gonna have to work for it. They have their backs up against the wall. They also have a new parent company, Sony, who seems pretty averse to live service games in their current era. And so there's just lots of components going against them. But people have lost a lot of money and goodwill betting against Bungie, and I would not do it.
Anthem.
So that's the quote of the episode right there.
Right. Do you think you just touched on it, but like the duos, do you think there's room for both like Arc Raiders and Marathon to have a quads and fives and have a 6-person activity? Because that is where I fall short on both of them. Is I love playing with my friends. I love bringing people in. I love doing the raid encounters. Do you think that both of them can have that kind of world where it's like, all right, there's 6 of us, we jump in together? Or
Yeah, probably. I think Arc Raiders lends itself to that more because people are already working with each other. So it's pretty easy to just be like, just make the groups bigger. Like they're gonna find each other and hang out anyway, right? Like why make them find their friends in the wild when they can just bring them in? I think that makes sense. Marathon is in a tougher position, which again, niche with a niche with a niche, is that it is tightly tuned for 3v3. And if you added a fourth runner into that game, it would already feel like their characters and the combat was a little bit too chaotic. I've just seen that happen before. Like, actually, it happened with Highguard. Was like, we're a 3v3 game. And I went to their studio and I played the game before it came out. And they were like, we're 3v3. We're not going to change that. And then as soon as somebody made any comment, they went, never mind, 5v5. And guess what? The 5v5 encounters were sloppy and had way too many people and felt super chaotic. They were still fun, but like, that game was clearly not made with that in mind. And I think Marathon is in a similar position where
okay,
like if you added too many groups playing together, it would inherently kind of break the very polished PvP game that they made. And so my prediction is that they're just not going to do it. I think they'll do solos, duos, trios. Maybe they add a fourth for like a specific activity, but I don't think you're ever going to see them go to 6. Arc Raiders, sky's the limit. They could do 10-player groups. I'm sure
yeah,
people
here we go.
would be down for that.
Everyone
It's
together,
exciting to
everyone
me,
together. Let's go. Perfect.
Right.
Travis, have
But
you
again,
played
like,
any duos in
yeah.
Marathon? Have you duoed
I
in Marathon
have,
yet?
yeah. I played duo and marathon.
How's it play
I've
out?
also played solo with Rook. I think it's fine. The game feels perfect with 3 people. I think that's like very clearly where the vision was. But I do think like you should tear down as many barriers in a game where you already have so many. And so I love that duos exists. If I only have one friend on and we just can't find a third, we're not really feeling like going in with a random. Like I think it's a great solution. So and then solos is just awesome. Rook is like such an elegant solution to like the scav run in Escape from Tarkov. I really dig it.
Agreed. Rook, massively underrated, very fun experience.
Yeah.
That is where you said you found it, right, Cody? You said that was like when you enjoyed it the most,
Yeah.
when you were figuring out
Yep.
the Rook runs.
Like 3 or 4 hours into the game, I was like, hey, I'm going to go in on a Rook. And I was like, okay, I understand. I get the game now. It makes sense.
Yeah. Being a scavenger is really funny. And then also you can upgrade Rook specifically to just be a badass. Like
So you get the
you
double
give him a
barrel on Rook.
shotgun,
Running
you
in
give
with the
him
DB.
claymores, you give him claymores to start, stuff like that. Like he
Absolute
just
menace.
You're
he
ratting
becomes
out over
such
there.
a menace.
You're
Yeah.
such
And
a rat.
the TTK is low enough in that
okay.
game too that like if played perfectly, like you can 3v1 a team. It's not unheard of. Arc
And he gets a
much more
green
difficult.
shield as well. He gets a green
Yeah.
shield, shotgun.
He's a beefy
like,
boy,
it's just
dude.
it's
Don't
so
mess with
funny
him.
to have him as an option. But yeah, when you pull off a 3v1 like win, it's just there's nothing else like it. It's great.
Heck yeah.
Beautiful.
All right, well, Dave, you walk Travis through the workbench. Let's get a Travis workbench here before
okay.
we wrap up. What do you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're hitting our limit here. So, our last segment is we call it the workbench. I don't know if you've ever heard of something like this, but I stole it from somebody, and it was from another podcast. It was called a Bungee Please, and then it was an Embark Please, but then it was we call it
you got him.
we call it our workbench because that is something in Arc Raiders, and it is something that I would like you and myself and also Coda to bring into the game that is like, no armchair development. Like, you don't need to be a developer. Just like real quick, if there's something you could fix, just like that in the game, what would it be? So for Arc Raiders, I know this is a new concept for you, but if you could give me one thing to change in Arc Raiders and also in Marathon, just like that, without having no dev experience, what would it be?
Oh my God, you just made me flash back to Fireteam Chat because
Yeah.
completely forgot about Bungee Please, which was a segment I came up with.
Yes, it is.
Which is great.
DJ's keeping it alive
yeah.
for you, my man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so workbench. What are some things?
So
I would change for Arc Raiders. I would change the mission structure. I think missions were created in a world where they assumed PvP would be the main thing preventing you from completing your quest lines. And so the quest lines feel like chores because they are. Because literally the idea of an extraction shooter is, can you complete this specific set of chores before getting murdered by another player? And in Arc Raiders, that is less of a problem. And so the missions are bad. I would just say, look, our game isn't that anymore. It's not chores with friends while getting PvP'd. It is now just a full PvE game. And so the quests should be significantly more difficult. They should make you go into places that are hot zones where lots of PvE enemies are going to put up resistance. They should do stuff like that is a lot more focused. That's how I would design mission structure. And I think that the way that they've done it historically, at least up until the last time I played it, of like, hey, go and collect berries, is just, it just does not fit with the game that this has become. So that would be my main one. For Marathon, just change the UI. It's horrible. It is truly terrible. There's like 9 different items that look identical to each other, and the only way you can tell what they are is by scrolling over them to see what words pop up, which is crazy because these guys made Destiny, which you could tell every item what it was by looking at it from a distance without scrolling over it. So I literally played this game 2 years ago, Marathon, for the first time, and I remember seeing the art on these items and thinking, oh, it's placeholder art, because I'm used to playing games early. It's like, okay, yeah, they're going to change this. When the game came out and it was just like that, I was shocked. I was like, how was that the final artwork? Dude, like, this makes no sense. It's crazy.
The skill gap with the UI is literally English comprehension. Like, how fast can you read? How quickly can you comprehend?
Literally.
Because there's no image to help you out. Agreed.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Good work benches, sir. Yeah, excellent.
Thank you. That was awesome. I'm
glad you got anything this week, baby.
Well, yeah. So for Marathon, my big thing is the menu screen. I would love for it just to be a little bit more simplistic. It's not as bad the more you play it, but it could just be a lot quicker to jump between things. And I know Destiny wasn't the cleanest menu system, but they could do a little bit better, at least in my opinion.
Agreed.
And then
UI is the weakest point in that
game, and it just make moving from round to round a little bit smoother. And then in Arc Raiders, I know I haven't talked about this yet, but if I could just please fucking see the map if I'm not the fire team leader. I don't know why I can't look at the map if I'm not the one that's in charge of clicking what we're gonna do. Like, let me at least go in there and see what is available. It just, I don't need to choose anything. I don't need to do anything other than just want to look at the map so I can be like, hey, Coda, hey, TieGuy, maybe I see there's a storm over there on, Stella. Can we go do that? That'd be awesome. But I can't do that because I'm not the fire team leader, and I don't know why that matters because we're all underground anyway. Let me click it. That's all.
I didn't even know that wasn't a thing.
You can't do it.
That's terrible.
You can't look at anything, TieGuy.
This has been his workbench for like 3 weeks in a row, dude. He's trying to get their attention.
I'm really, really, really trying to get their attention sooner or later.
I'll talk to somebody in Embark. I know people.
Thank you, please.
What a legend.
What about you, Coda? Coda, you got anything?
Nothing.
You love it all. Nothing, it's perfect.
There were enough things thrown out there. I'm just gonna be the narrator.
Happy guy. All right, happy guy.
That's right.
Bear.
Mad shout out to TieGuyTravis for coming on, dude. Thank you. Lil Poop in the chat said earlier she was really appreciating the MCR Helena look. So Really nailing it there,
I
my friend.
know, right?
Thanks for coming on, man. Really
Thanks.
nice to meet
Appreciate
you.
it.
Let's game together. Let's get into marathon, something. We're looking for a third over here. If you got any free time, I know you don't have much of that. But
Yeah. No, I'll add
Heck
in.
yeah.
I mean, it's now it is officially my job to play marathon for like the next
Yes.
week. So like, if you guys
Okay.
are online, hit me up.
We'll do. Promise.
Excellent.
Cool.
Travis, where can everybody find you online? Where do we get at you?
I am TieGuyTravis everywhere. That's Tie Guy because I wear ties. And then you can also read all my stuff on IGN.com. I just went live with a video review of Crimson Desert earlier today, which you can watch my impressions after 130, now 140 actually, hours of that game. Yeah, for everything else, keep it locked to IGN.
There it
I think
is.
I'm legally obligated to say that on every podcast appearance.
I'm glad.
Keep it locked to IGN. Yes, indeed.
Love it.
All right. And for the rest of us here, you can find us at the TickPod on all socials. Thank you guys for hanging out this week. Another wonderful conversation. We will be back next week. We're really excited about our Creators Update next week, so we will be back covering that. I think it'll just be me and DJ for now, but we will keep you posted if anything changes. Once again, I'm Coda. Below me, the lovely DJ Oros. Thank you guys. We will see you next week.
Peace, McClunky. Boom. Yeah. Well, it had to happen, right?